The Do's and Don'ts of Text Analysis, Part 3. Words and phrases you should absolutely avoid. They really make your English teacher angry when they turn up in your essay. Number one, the second word in so many essays, the given text, doesn't exist in English, never has, never will. It's simply a translation of what some German teachers want to have you write. Der vorliegende Text ist, and so on, which is still nonsense, because obviously you're talking about the text in front of you. I mean, which other text would you talk about? But a phrase like the given text doesn't really exist in English, so don't use it. Just say the text, the excerpt from. Oh, and there it is, the excerpt from, not the excerpt or an excerpt of. If I read this in the first sentence, I feel like closing the essay, putting it aside, weeping and saying no, no, no. Okay? So because it's really easy, it's an excerpt from. It's an excerpt from a novel, from a play, from an article. So please make sure you use from. The scene or the story plays in. Obviously that's the translation of spielt in from German, and in English it is always the scene, the story is set in or on or at. Talk about, obviously that's not wrong, it's just unbelievably simple and flat. Always use the right verb to say what a character is doing when he's talking. Always say he asks him to, he replies that, he refuses to, he demands that he do this, he criticizes him for being, and so on and so on. With this, the author wants to or tries to. Don't be haughty, don't be somebody who looks down on the author and says, oh look, Shakespeare tried to do something, but he didn't really achieve it, did he? That's not what you want to say. Simply say what the author does. Never say he tries to or he wants to do something. Furthermore, taught by generations of English teachers, sounds very posh in English, and don't put it into your essay. It's just not the right connective. It's not the right register to use in an essay. Next or also, comma, in addition, comma, something like that. Furthermore is really what Lord so-and-so would say. She is characterized as. That's a long-standing misunderstanding. In German you say eine Figur charakterisieren is what you do in your essay. You say what she is like or he. That doesn't exist in English. You can only say it's characterized. She's characterized by her love for chocolate, but you can't characterize a character. That doesn't make sense to an English person. Okay, so don't use it. Even if your English teacher should use it in a task, it's still wrong. The author uses, he never uses, or she never uses, for instance, an omniscient narrator or Louis, the character, as an example of something, whatever. Just go ahead. He employs an omniscient narrator slightly better, but just simply say he tells the story from an omniscient point of view. Louis in the story is an example of. To be of the opinion that, I am of the opinion that, incredibly formal, sounds again like something from the House of Lords. You would not say that in an essay, and it's simply again a translation from the German Ich bin der Meinung. Don't say that. By the way, also never say personally, I think, I feel, yeah? That's obviously personally. It's obviously your personal opinion, so don't say that. Just say I feel, to my mind, I believe that. Never to be I am of the opinion. To make clear that doesn't exist again. You can say as a politician, I want to make it perfectly clear that we will never do this. But that's usually not what you mean to say in an essay. So forget the whole phrase. Yeah? He points out, he states that, but make clear doesn't work. Finally, two phrases at the end of your essay. All in all doesn't fit. All in all is when you've listed the pros and cons of something, and now you want to find a balanced general sort of conclusion to things. But what you want to do in an essay is to sum up. You want to summarize, to sum up, comma, and then you put your results after that. Never say all in all. And finally, this is not in an essay, but it's still quite a funny way, because very often you're asked to write an email or a letter, And you never close it with the phrase "in love," because you're not in love with anyone. And even if you were, you wouldn't close your email by writing "in love." Love itself, without the "in," is a typically British way of closing a letter to somebody from your family or somebody you're very close to. But don't never ever close an email or letter with "in love." So please remember this list of words and phrases you should absolutely avoid, and do avoid them. See you.